Hello, this video will be a Rec Plus training overview for coaches who will be participating in the Rec Plus trainings. I want to make sure you understand how those trainings work and what will be expected of you. So without further ado, just as always, thank you for your willingness to volunteer to coach. We couldn't do without you, and we hope that these Rec Plus trainings are a great opportunity for not only the player, but for you to develop as well. Our goals for the Rec Plus training are to develop the player technically, with the ability to touches on the ball, develop the player tactically, how they think about the game and when they execute what sort of skills, develop the player situationally, now to think about, okay, inside the situation of the larger field of play, what do I need to be doing, particularly when I don't have the ball. And then we also want to provide a consistent experience across all of the Rec Plus trainings from U10 to U14, because we have players come and go out of our Rec Plus program, but we want to make sure they always have these foundational key knowledges of the player development framework as put forth by US Soccer. We want to help you improve your coaching by giving opportunity to coach players that are not just yours but other players, and then provide feedback where needed and encouragement. We want you to help to get you to know the other coaches that you'll be coaching with or around, particularly in your A division in both the boys and the girls side. And we want you to get to know all the players, not only your players, but obviously other players in your league, whether it be boys or girls, because eventually you'll get to U16 and it'll be co-ed right now, and you'll be coaching all these players anyway, so it'll be simpler for you. The way the Rec Plus training goes is that we usually do what I'll call an opening activity for the first 5 to 6 minutes. The reason we do this is simply to allow people to arrive late, because some of the trainings start at 5:15 p.m. and it's hard for parents to get there, and we need to get the kids working, but we also need to give time for people to arrive late without messing up too much of our flow. We then usually do a very short meeting, kind of go over what we're doing for the day with the players. And then we will assign them into one of 3 groups. We may go to 4 groups, we may, depending on the numbers we have, but the activities usually are designed to work with like about 20 players, but usually the first couple of weeks might have more than 20 players, and so we will modify activities to make those work. There'll usually be 3 activities every single week, and each of those activities will be a roughly 18 minutes of time on each activity. We'll do a technical activity so we can work on their touches. We'll do the tactical activity to help them work on the situational stuff they need to do inside of their own player development. And then on the situational stuff is more at a team level, what they're doing situationally. We'll have 2 water breaks after the first activity and second activity, and then obviously after the third one, they're done for the day. So we'll try to have those done in 4 minutes, get water, get back, and get going. And then we'll usually meet for about 4 minutes at the end to wrap up the evening for them. These Rec Plus trainings are an hour and 15 minutes long, so we try to pack a lot of stuff into it, but keep it short and concise when we're doing that so we can get touches on the ball. Sort of your expectations for these will be that I will send an email out each week in advance of these trainings, usually by the end of the day Monday. We'll start trainings on Tuesday, so you can have some time Tuesday to watch them, and be aware of what we're doing for the evening and how it functionally works. Those will come to you in video form and a PDF. If possible, we'd like you to arrive 5 minutes early, so basically we can decide who's going to do which activity for the evening and pair you off and do any last minute explanation on how the activity works in case it's needed. Then we need you to be ready and prepared to instruct the players on how to execute the activity you're in charge of. And be prepared to ask the players key questions to help them improve. So, hey, what do you think you could do better here? Use those key questions to get them to think, essentially, but also instruct them individually and coach them individually. And then always just focus on the player, being encouraging in your words and help them develop. For the player's expectation, and this can get a little tough because these aren't always players you know and you can deal with, but we absolutely require the players to show respect to the coaches. That means being quiet when they be quiet, listening, putting forth good effort, etc. If they're not, you can absolutely be like, hey, you need to get on it, right? We want you to do that because we want them to understand that's a core value, respect. We're asking the players to put forth appropriate effort, not only for themselves because they need to for themselves, but also to help the people around them to improve. Just a reminder that player development will not be linear, so each week players may get something, but next week forget it, right? And they'll not develop the same place, and they will have ceilings where some players won't be able to execute some things. I 100% still believe in challenging all players across all levels and skill, even if they can't ever really reach the ceiling we're trying to hit. I don't think that we make these trainings so complicated that they won't be achievable, though, by every single player. Just to keep in mind, all these Rec Plus training sessions will be focused around the U.S. framework here, which are these standards starting at the U10, the U12, and obviously the U13 side of this. We will be covering these topics across the entire year, not just in just the spring or the fall, but we look at fall and spring as a total session. We will sometimes redo topics because players will come and go out of Rec Plus, and we need the foundational knowledge or key concept knowledge, like pressure cover balance, for example, to be known by all players to build off of that. So, but we'll be working through these standards. The other key point in this is that a real emphasis on attacking and defending, and then the transitions between those spaces, losing the ball and winning the ball. So soccer is played in 4 phases. You'll hear me say that to these players over and over again as these things get going, and something you should remind them of as well. The quicker they can transition, the better off they'll be. And then this is just another framework slide going through all the details of that in more detail. Some example trainings of an opening. This is like a throw-in one where players are throwing the ball in to players in the center. And we can divide them boys and girls up real quickly, and they can do this pretty quickly and get organized. And they're working on their throw-in skills, and they're working on the accuracy, trying to hit people in their chest or their feet or whatever we're working on. And the other players are working on trapping and making quick passes back. This is a technical example, but one we probably won't use as a technical drill, but we're just dribbling through gates, right? Getting touches and dribbling. Tactically, this is a pressure balance basic thing, and these are all videos. I'm just showing you screenshots of videos, essentially, where we work on the pressure and cover. We'll be doing something like this, a variation of this, to start every season, because I want to make sure that they have the foundational knowledge of pressure, cover, balance. And then a situational play-like kind of game where they're working on different ideas and concepts they need to work through. With usually it's game-like, there's rules, there's teams, there's ways to score, and help them to work on situationally what they should be doing and where they should be. We also will send out a paper guide, so you'll see this is what it kind of looks like. So here's a pressure cover balance. There'll be a YouTube video. It'll kind of set up what the sides will be, what will happen, what some of the key points all you'll be coaching, showing the coaches will kick the ball in to one of the 4 players, and then they'll get into positionally sound positions. So try to give you a paper reference. Those will be available as well. And this is a reminder, we do have an incentive plan for you to attend 80% of these trainings, and you get $25 back on your player's registration, or towards, if you don't have a player in the league, swag. And so we do want you to participate. It goes a lot smoother the more people we have, because then I'm able to walk around and help out and sort of help coach you and coach players versus being stuck running one of the sessions myself or the activities each night. We'll have an attendance form for you to fill out. I'll send it out every single week to you. You can fill it out, put your name and your email address, your team name, and then tell us what date you helped out with, so that we can make sure that you attended 80% of the sessions, so we can get that $25 worth of credit back to you. So that is how these nights will work. They are co-ed. There will be 2 teams there, or all teams there from both sides of the field, and we will mix the groups up. The reason for this is we want the players to benefit. A lot of times the girls are, from a smarts level, understand the game a little bit better than the boys, because we'll work more as a team, and the boys want to work individually, and so it can help that way. And the boys can sometimes be better than the girls, so it challenges the best girl as she challenges with the boy in the space, and it works really, really well. But it also sets it up so they get used to playing with each other, because eventually in our league they have to play together at the high school level, and we want to retain those players. We have a huge drop off after 8th grade, and it's partly because of life happens, they're teenagers and everything else. But we do want to see if we can keep them in the league and enjoying that experience by playing with the boys by getting used to doing that earlier. So that is how the Rec Plus trainings will operate and function. Hopefully that answers any questions you might have. If you do have questions, please let me know. I'm happy to answer them.